In the thrilling world of poker, understanding your opponents is just as crucial as knowing your hand rankings. The game is not just about the cards you hold, but also about reading the players around you. Each player at the table brings a unique style and strategy, and recognizing these can give you a significant edge. Among the many player types you'll encounter, Nits stand out for their ultra-conservative approach to the game. They are the ones who rarely take risks, preferring to play it safe and wait for the perfect moment to strike. Nits are players who play very few hands pre-flop, often waiting for premium starting hands like high pairs, aces, kings, queens, or big aces like ace-king. They are extremely selective and will fold most hands, only entering the pot when they have a strong chance of winning. They are risk-averse and prefer to play a tight, straightforward style. This means they avoid bluffing and rarely make aggressive moves unless they are confident in their hand. Identifying nits early on is vital for any poker player looking to maximize their winnings. By recognizing their cautious nature, you can adjust your strategy to exploit their predictability. Why? Because nits, with their predictable patterns, can be easy prey for the observant and adaptable player. Their reluctance to engage in risky plays makes them vulnerable to more aggressive strategies. Knowing how to spot them and adjust your game accordingly can significantly impact your profitability at the table. By taking advantage of their tight play, you can force them into difficult decisions and capitalize on their hesitance. Remember, poker is a game of information and deception. The more you can learn about your opponents, the better you can manipulate the game to your favor. The more you know about your opponent's tendencies, the better equipped you are to make informed decisions and exploit their weaknesses. Observing their behavior and betting patterns can provide valuable insights. So let's delve into the world of nits and see how you can turn their tight play to your advantage. By understanding their mindset and strategies, you can develop counter strategies that will help you dominate the table. Identifying a nit in a live poker setting differs greatly from doing so online. Online stats reign supreme. We'll dive into those soon enough. Live poker is all about observation and intuition. Pay close attention to how a player acts before the flop. Are they constantly folding, only coming in with a raise when they have a monster hand? That's a good sign of a nit. Watch their reactions to other players' bets. A nit will often fold quickly to aggression, especially early in a hand. Live tells can be subtle. Do they avoid eye contact? Are they shaking their head no before the action even gets to them? These are all signs of a player who's playing tight, waiting for the nuts. Online poker offers a statistical advantage that live play simply can't match. The digital realm provides a treasure trove of data that can be harnessed to improve your game significantly. Heads-up displays, or HUDs, provide key data points, allowing you to quickly identify nits at your table. These HUDs are invaluable tools that give you real-time insights into your opponent's playing styles. Let's break down some of the most telling stats. Understanding these metrics can give you a significant edge over your competition. VPIP, or voluntarily put money in pot. This stat shows the percentage of hands a player voluntarily plays pre-flop. It's a crucial indicator of how loose or tight a player is. Nits typically have a very low VPIP, often in the single digits, 10% or less. This means they are extremely selective about the hands they choose to play. They are only playing premium hands and folding the rest. This conservative approach makes them predictable but also difficult to extract value from. PFR, or pre-flop raise. This stat indicates how often a player raises before the flop. It's another critical metric for understanding a player's aggression level. Nits tend to have a PFR close to their VPIP. This means they are not just playing tight but also raising with their strong hands. They're rarely limping into pots, preferring to raise when they have a strong hand. This makes them easier to read but also harder to exploit. 3-bet frequency. How often does the player re-raise pre-flop? This stat is essential for understanding a player's willingness to escalate the pot. Nits will have a very low 3-bet frequency, usually only doing so with the absolute top of their range. Aces, kings, ace-king. This makes their 3-bets highly credible. Fold to steal. This stat shows how often a player folds to a raise when they are in the blinds. It's a measure of how willing they are to defend their blinds. Nits have a high fold to steal percentage, as they are unwilling to defend their blinds without a premium hand. This makes them vulnerable to aggressive steal attempts. C-bet and turn C-bet. These stats show how often a player continuation bets on the flop and turn. They are crucial for understanding post-flop aggression. Nits will often c-bet a high percentage when they hit a strong hand and quickly give up when they miss. This makes their c-bets highly predictable. Their turn c-bet percentage will be significantly lower, as they are less likely to bluff. This makes them easier to play against on later streets. By analyzing these key metrics, you can quickly identify the nits at your table and adjust your strategy accordingly. Understanding these stats allows you to exploit their weaknesses and maximize your profits. Even without the benefit of online stats, spotting a nit in a live game is entirely possible. Remember, nits are creatures of habit, and their actions often betray their conservative nature. Their betting patterns are usually straightforward. They'll bet strong when they have it and shut down when they don't. Don't expect a lot of fancy play or bluffing from a true nit. They'll rarely show you a bluff, so if they're showing strength, you better believe them. Their table presence can be just as telling. Nits are often quiet and reserved, rarely engaging in table talk. They're focused on the game, analyzing every hand and waiting for their moment to strike. They may even sigh or shake their head when they fold, frustrated at not getting dealt premium holdings. Now that you can spot a nit, how do you use that information to your advantage? It's all about understanding their weaknesses and exploiting their predictability. Nits are easy to bluff. Since they fold so often, you can start picking up pots by betting confidently with a wider range of hands, especially when they show weakness. Don't be afraid to put pressure on them with bets and raises. However, be cautious when a nit shows significant strength. They rarely bluff, so if they're betting big, they likely have the goods. You'll need to have a very strong hand to call them down. Section 6. Adjusting your game. Don't be the one they're waiting for. While exploiting nits can be profitable, remember that good players are always adapting. Don't become predictable yourself. If a nit notices you're constantly raising their blinds or trying to bluff them off every pot, they'll adjust and make you pay. Mix up your play. Throw in some pre-flop limps with strong hands. Occasionally call their raises with speculative hands to keep them guessing. The key is to avoid becoming predictable. Remember, poker is a game of deception. The best players can adapt to any situation and exploit their opponent's weaknesses regardless of their playing style. Section 7. The dangers of nitpicking when tight play backfires. While playing a tight style can be effective, it can also backfire, especially in the hands of an inexperienced player. Here's why. Blind vulnerability. Folding too often means constantly surrendering blinds. In a game with escalating blinds, this can quickly deplete your stack. Missed opportunities. Waiting for premium hands means missing out on exploiting profitable situations with a wider range of holdings. Transparency predictable play makes you an easy target for observant opponents who can exploit your tendencies. It's essential to strike a balance between tight and aggressive play. Blindly imitating a nit strategy without understanding the nuances of the game can lead to disastrous results. Section 8. The fine line. Tight versus nit. There's a difference. While the terms tight and nit are often used interchangeably, there's a subtle but important distinction. Understanding this difference can significantly impact your game strategy and overall success at the poker table. A tight player is selective about their starting hands and avoids unnecessary risks, but they are not afraid to play aggressively when the situation calls for it. They know when to push their advantage and when to fold, making them formidable opponents. They understand the importance of position, pot odds, and implied odds. These players are constantly analyzing the game, looking for the right moments to strike. A nit, on the other hand, takes tightness to an extreme. They play very few hands and are overly cautious, often missing out on profitable opportunities. They rarely deviate from their strategy, even when it's disadvantageous. This rigidity can be a significant weakness as it makes them predictable and easy to exploit. They may miss out on valuable opportunities to build pots or bluff because they're too focused on playing only premium hands. This conservative approach can lead to frustration and missed chances. Being able to differentiate between a tight player and a true nit is crucial for adjusting your strategy effectively. Recognizing these traits in your opponents can give you a significant edge. Don't be fooled into thinking all tight players are easy targets. Some may be skilled players disguising their true abilities behind a conservative facade. They can switch gears and become aggressive when the situation demands it. Understanding these nuances will help you make better decisions and ultimately become a more successful poker player. Always be observant and ready to adapt your strategy based on the type of player you're facing. Section 9. Mastering your opponents. It's more than just the cards. Mastering the art of identifying and exploiting nits is a crucial step towards becoming a well-rounded poker player. Remember, poker is a game of people as much as it is a game of cards. Pay close attention to your opponent's tendencies, both live and online. Learn to read their betting patterns, understand their thought processes, and exploit their weaknesses. By mastering the art of observation and adaptation, you'll be well on your way to outmaneuvering your opponents and stacking those chips. Good luck at the tables.